So my first property was Leon, acquired in end of June, July. And kind of give you an idea of what the rents were. I don't know if we can go through all the details, but I can
You
just
could
scroll
share the
down.
rent roll as well, Zaba, so we could. Yeah.
Just hit the high points, I think. Yeah, just
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's kind of the net income, right? The nice thing is, how many units did we renovate in Richmond, Leon?
For Richmond, maybe one. We have had only one vacancy.
So we renovated one unit in there. We're able to paint the hallways, beautify the outside, kind of take care of like you make it nicer. And it was zero out of pocket. We didn't take any distribution. We put all the money in there. So this property was 10 doors. I believe we paid $535,000 for it, right? So roughly, $54,000 a door after, attorney fees and whatnot. And then month one, we walk out with $200 in the bank, right? And that usually has some money left over for like renovations. Then you see, months two, we got $1,100 left. And then I think this month I paid the insurance up front because it's kind of battling. So the monthly plan. So that month I'm like, okay, let me just pay the insurance for the year. So I see a negative here. And then this one might have been, the first month rent would pay somebody, right? It was with the vacancy, it was cleaned up. We submit, $100. It's a cash flow month one, right? So the first year after we bought it, between July and December, including beautifications, renovations of one unit, we are left with $2,000 by the end of the year, right?
But that's just from the cash collected. This is not showing that some tenants were late. And right now, I think for that property, I think we have maybe over 7,000 or 6,000 something in tenant balances.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And then also January, February, we got subsidized tenants would get the money in, right? So the rent went up by $1,500. So I don't have January, February up here, but the monthly cash flow is. Do you remember, Leon? It's probably like at least $2,000 or $3,000 at this point.
Yes, and just to be clear, we have not raised rents yet.
Yes,
Rents are the same as when we purchased the building. However, we have improved common areas. We have sent out our rental increase notices, and in 2 months we will raise rents. So we are looking to cash flow from this property around, I would say, around 3,000-4,000 a month or so.
Yes, and we're because we care about tenants too, right? So we specifically not raised the rents out November, December. My Christmas was coming up, Thanksgiving, which usually we buy a property, we start putting money in, beautify it, and they get like a rent increase within the first quarter or so. Once we do all the renovations, we held off, actually 3 months because hey, let's not stress these people out during the holidays. Let's give them a break. We can wait. It's cash flowing positive anyways. Let's wait till January to kind of do all that stuff and raise rents. So there's a little bit of a delay here.
Yeah.
Another point here is that in this building, we have 90% market tenants and only one subsidy tenant. If this building starts to match our desire, giving us say 40% subsidy tenants, then we will be well on our way in terms of cash flow.
Yeah, again, this is slightly delayed again because we didn't raise the rents, but also usually once we start raising the rents, we get people leaving, right? So usually as soon as they leave, we try to get the subsidized housing markets in there. So that's why you don't see that as quickly here. But regardless, this is a delayed deal, and we have cash flow for month one, and end of the year we walk away with $2,000, and the investment that's first 6-7 months. That's the first deal, and then we have one deal, the Dobson one, that we use. It's like a more of a standard deal that we have to stabilize to a degree. We have full year numbers here. The reason why we see this increase right here in operating income is because we switched to our in-house software, not in-house, this software that we used to use from the other property management company. So that's why you see kind of, the first couple of months aggregated in April. But if we ignore all this, we can talk about the total numbers here, Leon, since this is mainly your example.
Yeah.
So how many units?
This building has 12 units.
12 units. What's the unit mix? Bedroom, bathroom.
I would say it's an even mix between twos and ones. Mostly ones, I would say. There's a few twos, mostly ones, and one studio.
Okay. Single story, 2-story building. What does that look like?
It's a two-story building, and
Okay.
I could send you a picture if we just.
It's okay. I'm going to give you my rapid fire questions that I hit every broker with when they say, I got you a deal. And I'm like,
It's
okay.
a two-story building. Shoot.
All right. Great.
Shoot, Larry.
All right. So do you have washer and dryer in these units?
No, these
Okay.
units do not have washer and dryer. This property does not have on-site laundry.
No on-site laundry either.
No.
Okay. How big are the units on average, or how big are the ones, and how big are the 2 bedrooms?
I would say maybe the 2 bedrooms are around maybe 1,100 square feet, and the 1 bedrooms are maybe 1,000 or so.
That's pretty good size compared to what we were buying down here, just for reference. Okay, cool. And do you know the price per foot? What you guys paid? What was the price you paid? And do you know the price per foot off the top of your head, or where you're about?
I don't remember the price per foot, but I think I paid somewhere around the 600,000 for this property.
635.
635. Right.
So what's a good price per foot in your area? Like, where would you guys
I normally don't do the price per foot. I normally do the price per unit, just to keep everything simple so I can move very fast.
Copy that. What is what was the price per unit on this? 63,000 or something?
No. It's gonna be around the 50s.
50s.
Around 50, yes.
Okay, so you're paying like in the 50s per door on average for.
That's my target for now.
Yeah.
53, yep.
For 2s and 1s mix. Okay. All right. Pretty cool. And what did you guys underwrite a cash on cash return for this one? What did that look like initially?
Well, at underwriting stage, I think we were at maybe around 20% cash on cash, because this property came with some subsidy tenants already. So when we bought this property, we had a couple of move outs, and we just kind of replaced them with subsidy tenants as well.
Okay, and you bought this in May of April of 2023 or something, or is this?
No. This property was bought maybe in 2022 or 2021, somewhere around there.
Got it. Okay, so
but we started in-house property management using Upfolio in April of 2023.
Got
so
it.
That is why you see January, February, and March all accumulated in April. If you look, April total operating expense is 20,000. Versus May, it's 6,007. The 20,000 is an accumulation of January 2023, February 2023, March 2023, and April itself.
Okay. What about utilities in buildings like this? Does the tenant pay for water and electric, and is there gas up there?
So this building is pretty unique. This is a fully electric building, so there is no gas. So even the heat is powered by electric. For my subsidy tenants, I like to include utilities in the rent, or at least heat. I don't want to put the responsibility of heat on subsidized tenants in Chicago, where the temperature drops and this one person did not pay their bill, and this unit water gets frozen and it impacts the entire apartment. So whenever I have a subsidy tenant, I like to incorporate at least the heat. And more of the buildings that we're buying have a furnace in the basement that powers the entire building with heat. So it makes it really attractive to get subsidized tenants, because we are including the heat naturally.
And when you add the heat, I mean, at least from what I remember from doing these Section 8 deals and these subsidized tenants, you fill out a piece of paper and it's like, what is landlord paying for? What is tenant paying for? And then obviously maybe the base they're willing to pay is $1,700, but if you add in heat, they're willing to maybe pay $1,800 or whatever the number is, right?
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
So you get it covered in the subsidized housing. While we're talking about subsidized housing, what is there percentages that the tenants have to pay, or is it 100% subsidized in most cases?
Yeah, I only work with the subsidized programs that pays 100%. I don't care what goes on in the background, whether the tenant has to pay the subsidy agency a percentage in the background, but we get all our payments from the subsidy programs directly.
Interesting. Okay, so down here, how I've experienced it, maybe there's other people that have experienced different, but usually it's a percentage. So, and I have to deal with collecting that difference. So I have to, and that varies every year or 6 months, depending on how the voucher plays out with the housing authority. So if, say, they lose a job or they get a new job and they get more money, then their voucher changes, and then they notify us, hey, you're not collecting $250 anymore, you're collecting $400 now, and we're only paying X. And that's part of the reason why I don't like dealing with them, because it complicates my life.
Yes.
So we got to figure out how we're doing that. Now I have a management guy that does this, but it's still more complicated for him. And so
and I would say that is true, Larry, for Section 8 CHA. But as I mentioned, we're using lots of other local programs, and these programs pay 100% directly to the account or via a check mailed to us. That makes management much easier. It makes our financial interaction with the tenants nearly zero, which is what we want. All we have to do now is keep the tenant happy.
Copy that. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And it's just direct deposit into your account every month, right?
Well, some of these programs does direct deposit every month. Some of them are not that sophisticated. They will mail you a check.
That's been my experience with those programs too, which if you don't have a system like you guys have set up, that can be frustrating for example, little Larry here, who might have had at that time, I don't know, 50 doors. It was still annoying to get 25 checks every month, right? And and the system wasn't put together perfectly. So we're chasing the companies for checks. We're chasing the subsidies companies, because we've worked with different companies that also paid 100%. But again, that was our experience too. They were sending us checks, getting lost in the mail, sending whatever it was, just stupid problems. So yeah, you have to build a system.
Yeah, I do have a question for those that are not subsidized. What is the eviction process like in Chicago, and how often have you had to do evictions?
So I would say eviction is a continuous process for us. The eviction process is very seamless. We work with Halstead Law Group, and the attorneys at Halstead Law Group, they're very versed in eviction. So the way it works is as follows. If there's a tenant that needs to be evicted, we have an email address that we would send the tenant ledger and the eviction documents that has been endorsed by the notary public. And we send everything to this email address, and that's it. We never got involved again. And by the next 2 months, maybe 3 months, the tenant is gone.
That quickly. In Chicago, 2 to 3 months, they're good.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I don't know why I had an assumption that it was a little longer process like New York and California and some of these other states.
No. It's definitely not as long as New York. It's much faster. I have some friends operating in New York as well. And that's one of the hiccup in New York, I would call it tenant friendliness with the
California too. A lot of states now. So yeah. Okay, good. Excellent. Well
there is no rent control in Chicago.
Okay.
And there is rent control in New York, maybe California, but in Chicago, that's something that's being discussed, but it has not been approved or anything like that as yet.
Okay.
So instead of dealing with those headaches, just invest with us, fund on funds or syndication. You deal with nothing, just collect your money,
That's it. Easy.
That's the service you guys offer for sure. Absolutely.
That's it. Absolutely. That's the true value add.
So the 1-1s on that deal you just mentioned, what is the market rate on a 1-1 there, and what's the other rent that we talked about here, the subsidized rent?
For subsidized rents, the fair market rate for 1 beds is around $1,500 to $1,600 in the neighborhood that we operate.
Okay.
The HUD fair market rates vary by region. In our region, $1,500 to $1,600, and then I would say the market rate would be $950 or $1,000 around there.
Got it.
for
Got
those neighborhoods, yes. However, if you go downtown Chicago, you could get one bedrooms for $3,000, right? But that's not the market we operate in.
So you're saying the subsidized rent is 1,500, and if you just grab somebody that came straight to you off the street, 1,000, 950? Is that what I
Yeah,
heard?
950, 1,000.
Wow, very, very different. Okay.
Very different. I would have to maybe work hard to find someone for 950 or 1,000 as well.
Wow. Okay. And there's enough tenants out there. They're going to keep renting. You have good relationships with HUD and
Yes.
okay.
We have direct target marketing campaign targeting these programs, these agencies where quarterly they get a flyer from us, and as we see a spike in rental, they get another flyer. So we have a periodic marketing, and we have one that is event driven based on vacancies.
Got it.
Yeah.
And what about sourcing deals? That was my I don't know, final question. Yeah.
Sourcing deals, I find it to be the easiest part of the work.
Wow.
Yes, and that's because I have so many people coming to me with deals. Right now I know where I can find maybe 3-4 good deals, but because we have one under contract already, we're a little bit patient. But as soon as we close that one, then we know where to find the next deal from. There are lots of brokers in Chicago, and we have a great relationship with them. Periodically, we go in and we do presentation for the brokers to show them our strategy, to show them the portfolio. We also have presentation for our lenders as well. Like, in December, we have end of year presentations where we present to, Providence Bank or the community banks to show them, how the team has evolved and how we have utilized their money. And that kind of fosters close relationship.
Interesting.
Yeah. And but the nice thing too is, with buying the similar neighborhoods, as soon as we purchase a property somewhere, we have the brokers knock on the doors literally and ask them, "Hey, we just purchased. You got a good comp. Do you want to sell?" So actually, Indiana, we bought it, right, because you have the building right next door to it. So Indiana, Sam actually went there, knocking on the door, and asked if they want to sell it, and then that's how we ended up with that unit. So the brokers are knowing that if we put something under contract, we always close. Right, it's kind of a reputation that we build. At the same time, we have literally brokers going out and knocking on doors. Hey, Steneth Capital bought these buildings here, and they're just knocking on doors, seeing if they get mom and pop to sell it. So that's why the sourcing got, it's pretty nice.
So you work mostly through brokers. Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't have a dedicated broker, but a bunch of guys have properties selling, and they're always in contact with us. They bring the deals to us.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, they know you're a buyer, so all these brokers in the market, they'll reach out to you and provide opportunities, right?
Right. And most of these brokers too, they have the link to the sellers, direct contact to sellers.
But you don't have a cold calling team or a mail marketing platform where you're sending stuff out trying to source off market deals. This is
no.
This is, you have a network of killer brokers out there that are just hunting for you.
It's pretty crazy these days. These days I have to be dropping the calls from the broker because I'm not ready for the deals. I have to be dropping calls because they have so many deals.
Unbelievable.
We have a team of Larrys, basically we just got really lucky because Larry's killing it out here. We have a team of Larrys now in Chicago.
Yeah. So this is what I realized. So Chicago is one of the bigger cities in the Midwest. So you have a lot of brokers like from the Michigans or the Indianas or the Ohios, and they come to Chicago and they hit the ground running. They're highly motivated being in this big city, and they are just cranking and crushing it like a rock star.